on to the second in our series of 4 compassionate Q&A sessions to support the DClinPsy process. Oh, it's a tricky time. It is a tricky time. I have been holding you all in mind, and this very much causes me to reflect upon my own aspiring psychologist journey, which happened over 3 years and culminated in my interviews in 2008. So I had applied in 2007, I'd applied in 2006, I'd applied in 2005. Just getting myself comfortable. I am in for the long haul with you guys tonight. Just to explain that I've also got Instagram on in the background again. So hi to you guys on Instagram. You are behind my camera, so I'm going to mainly be looking at you lovely folks here, and you are watching either on Good Thinking Psychological Services on Facebook. Give me a wave, let me know you can hear me okay, drop something in the comments, and I can just know that everybody can hear me, which would be great. So Good Thinking Psychological Services on YouTube and on Facebook, that's the same username. Dr Marianne Trent on LinkedIn, and what's the other one? Good Thinking PS1. I am going to be changing my Twitter to Dr. Marianne Trent. That's the plan anyway. So if you happen to be watching me on YouTube, whilst you're there, it would be rude not to click the little subscribe, wouldn't it? And to click the little like and give me a little comment. So if you're on YouTube, even if you're not on YouTube, swing by, give me a subscribe. Come on, guys. So loud and clear on Facebook. Super duper. Thank you, Lizzie. How are you all faring? How are things going? You? Oh, there you go. So Campbell Bridge Riding School, you are on YouTube. I'm going to need you to subscribe, okay? And like and comment and do all those good things. So you've commented, so that's good. Yeah, 1 out of 3 ain't bad. Hey. Right, so, oh gosh, there's been some disappointment for many, many aspiring psychologists since I saw you last. There's also been, oh, Lauren, interview on Thursday, feeling the nerves. Yeah, sometimes it can be useful to just recognize that those nervy feelings are also excitement, okay? Are you daring yourself to dream? All right. Have you got other interviews, or is it 1 out of 4? Can you dare to imagine it going really well? We always imagine the worst case possibility, don't we? But do we ever take a moment to think about it going well? Can we ever, visualize things going, the right way? Perhaps we'll do a bit of a visualization and a guided imagery exercise towards the end, because I know if you have caught session 1, I was going to say season 1. This is the 2022 season of the Compassionate Q&A. I don't know if I did interview ones last year or whether I just did the DClinPsy form ones. So it's still worth hopping over to YouTube and watching the playlist. Because stuff that crops up at form filling in time will also be useful at interview time as well. So if you go over to the Good Thinking Psychological Services YouTube channel and click on playlists, you should be able to see the Q&A sessions which happened between September and November 2021, and there was also some of them in 2020 as well. So there we go. 1 out of 4 for you, trying to instill confidence in myself. I've gotten this far and I'm proud of that. Whatever comes next is a bonus, that's for sure. Yes, that is a great mindset position to be in. But of course, we also know a bit of solidarity here. What a lovely little person that is. I don't know if that's you, Laura, as a little person, or whether that's one of your little people hiding in a Wendy house or playing behind the curtains or something. That's an adorable photo. So yes, absolutely, we can tell ourselves it's a bonus. This is just lovely either way, but we also have the ability. So I can see that Lauren and Laura are both watching on YouTube. You both probably should be clicking on that subscribe. If you really felt so inclined, click on that notification bell as well. My kids made me say that. That's not my fault. They told me I must say that. And I wasn't getting no pocket money. They are trying to school me in being a lot cooler on YouTube, and they are failing. They are failing. But yeah, I told them that I would say it, and I've said it, kids. Okay. Right. So, right. What was I saying? Yeah, you might find it helpful to watch the stuff that I've done before. But this is number 2 of 4. So you might also find it helpful to watch the first one, which I did, I believe it was on the 28th of February. And you might look at me today and think, she looks very different today than she did then. I was so ill. Last time I saw you, I felt dreadful, but because I'd already told you I was going to do it, and I know that it's a really difficult time, I made myself do it. I did feel slightly better that evening, but I had a really awful vomit bug, and so I had felt a bit better. I'd had a little bit of cereal that evening because I felt better, but the next 2 days were a total write-off. I was sick again. It was awful. So I'm really pleased. Like, if it had been the Tuesday that we'd been supposed to be going live, I could not have done it. But happily, the Monday I felt a lot better. But I caught sight of it recently. I was like, oh, Marianne, you look ill. So yeah, I am much more well, I'm fully well, so that's a bonus, isn't it? But there's something around our our ability to want to show up, and we absolutely hope that you will be feeling tip top for your interviews if you have them. But yeah, like I was saying, there has been there's been joy, hasn't there? So 2 of you just watching today, you've got an interview, but I'm thinking those 3 not yet might have hurt as well. So I think of them as not yet. I think of them as thank you very much, but not quite yet. Maybe we'll see you next year. Because it takes, you want to get there when you're ready, so you said for yourself there, Lauren, that you're feeling really pleased to have got that far, but maybe you kind of chanced your arm a little bit, which I did with my first 2 applications and got nowhere. I would have been incredibly surprised to have been offered an interview for either one of my previous attempts, but the 3rd time I applied, I felt pretty robustly confident that I'd get at least 1, and I got 3. So yeah, let's just see what happens. But we can dare to dream, and when we get an interview, we imagine maybe the possibilities it might go well. And the difficulty is that not everybody can be successful. Not everyone can have a place on training because it's so competitive. But when you look at the numbers, when you look at the stats, it's worth bearing in mind that for many of you, you'll be being offered courses, offers in multiple courses. So the competition isn't maybe quite so fierce once you start getting interviews, because of course most people applying will likely accept an offer if they're given one. Okay, so some people might get 4 offers, which means that there's 3 other places up for grabs. So yes, it's difficult, isn't it? It is difficult. So Kaya, am I saying your name right, Kaya? Please let me know. I was optimistic thinking it's an achievement to get this far, but now I keep thinking I'll be even more gutted if I don't do well enough. It's not just you that brings stuff to the table, is it? So, whoever is interviewing as well, they're bringing stuff to the table too, and they will be wanting you to do well. Okay, Kaya, okay, everybody, they will be wanting you to shine. They're not going to be trying to make you look silly. They want you to exceed, they want you to excel. They want to get the best out of you. So go into it with a mindset that they want you to do well. I think that can be really useful. It's not a trick, they want to have you be within your optimal zone of window of tolerance. Okay, they don't want you super stressed. They know what a big deal this is to you. They're aware of that. I think they're almost exclusively clinical psychologists as well. So they have been where you are, and we're not going to start imagining them on the toilet or anything like that, but they've been where you are. So they've got some degree of empathy, hopefully, if they're good clinical psychologists, they have anyway. So they get it. They just want you to demonstrate how ready you are for training. They want you to just, I guess, be similarly consistent as you were on your form. They want you to be equally balanced. So if you know there's some weak spots or there's some Achilles weak spots, it might be worth you just really taking those bits apart and really going in a bit deeper on the prep for that. So I know some people I've spoken to have said, I'm not doing any prep. I'm just not doing any. They either want me and I'm ready, or they don't. But for me, I was a prepper. I wanted to give myself the optimal chance to shine, to thrive, to feel like I had approached it from all the different multifaceted angles. That was just me. That's what I wanted to do, but that might not be the right fit for you. Oh, good, Kaya. Thank you very much. Good to know. Right. Lizzie, excited to have an interview for 1 of 4, but wondering how to feel that my first choice was a no. Feels like mixed blessings. Okay, so maybe what's for you doesn't pass you by, so maybe your first choice is because it's closer to you, or maybe your first choice is because it felt like a bit of you. And then, the course that felt like a connection for you, are saying, sorry, Lizzie, not yet. Maybe sometime soon, but not yet. And that might feel a bit like, oh, well, I was sort of like, you're my backup plan. So you don't have to, I think you put them in course book order, don't you? You don't put them in order of preference. Whereas when we were applying to undergrad, to UCAS, you'd put them in order of preference. So you're like, oh, well, I got my first choice, But it doesn't really work like that at Clearinghouse. You just put them in. So nobody knows what your first choice is apart from you. Sometimes if you've got one really close to your house, they might think, she probably wants us. But yeah, it doesn't really work like that. So just you can perhaps treat this as let's see what happens. And even if you get offered a course and you think, I don't really fancy traipsing to the other side of the world, I don't really fancy, upping my life to what would have been my 4th choice for course, you don't have to accept it. You can bide your time. You can say, I'll do it next year, when actually, I might have a better shot of having more choices. So I'm I'm sure most of you are like, I'm never quitting a place. If I'm getting a place, I'm going there. I'm taking my kids, I'm taking my granny, I'm taking everyone I know, and we're decamping. We're going to camp in someone's garden. We're all just going. We're uprooting. But for some people, you think, actually, this is my life, and I'm choosing to take control. So you don't have to take places that are offered to you. Still a choice. It's still a job interview, still a job offer. You get to choose whether you want it or not. So Lauren says, congrats, Gillian. Best of luck to you and Laura. You're right, Marianne, in that they did sting. Yeah, they do. I remember I had a good cry when it happened to me. But we can lean into that feeling of stinging, and it further consolidates the fact that it matters. It helps us shape our human experience. And oh, Lauren, it will be all the more sweet when you get there, honestly. Maybe this is a conversation for another day, but the day that I found out that I was being offered my first choice course was just the best day. I was by myself when I found out, and I was house sitting. And I was going to be having a party that night, but nobody knew that was the day I was going to be finding out. So it could have been the worst party in the world, but it ended up just being a really, really special time that I was able to tell, my friends, and we all celebrated. It was a random Monday. I should not have been drinking champagne on a Monday, but it's assistant psychologist life. So yeah, I want you to have that too, Lauren. I want you to have the time where you're just, honestly on cloud 9, because you've been offered a place and it feels like the next step, to you being where you want to be, to getting your life to look how you want it to look like, with with less striving. So when I got on the course, it felt like, okay, I know where I'm at for 3 years now, you know, and there's some element of you just kind of like join the dots and you get there, you do the assignments, you do what's asked of you, you turn up on placement, even if it's really far, you get it done. And then you come out the other end as a qualified and you go, what? Say what now? Oh, I'm just going to sit and write my name, doctor, 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 doctor. Oh, what, you want me to actually see patients and hold clinical responsibility? Say what now? So yeah, you will get there. And please, Lauren, when you do, I want to know, okay? Because I want to help you celebrate. If you live close, I'll come round and we'll drink champagne together, okay? I am here for you. I'm here for all of you, and I'm here for it, okay? I'm here for celebrations, all right? Because it matters, all right? And I do like champagne. Don't drink loads, but if you're going to do it, you ought to do it. You ought to do it in style. Priya, third time applying and no interviews. Oh, bless you, my darling. I didn't get feedback either. Oh, it's really rubbish, isn't it? Struggling to understand where to improve. I worked on getting more varied experience and nothing. Oh, is it super duper relevant clinical experience? So are you working under a qualified ClinPsych? Are you getting good supervision? Did you get someone to have a look at your form that knows what they're talking about? Because they honestly can make the difference. You know, when I've seen forms, they just haven't been very good. I've been like, you said what? You did what? What? And so, you know, it might be that actually you'd had your form reviewed by a number of qualifieds. You've got really varied clinical experience. It might just be that it's fourth time lucky for you, Priya. It is rubbish. I want to swear, but I probably ought not to swear across all of my socials at the same time. I'm really sorry. You know, that is rubbish, you know. But, you know, it might be, you know, I can't know. So I applied third time lucky. I started training when I was 27. It might be that you are younger than that, and it might be that you applied, you know, soon after graduating. And so, you know, the first one maybe didn't count as much. And so maybe we could think about the first one as being like a, you know, just a practicing batting. And then the next one is going to be the one that is a bit of you. All right. But yeah, it might be worth looking at where you can get involved with some research. So I've got, I did an aspiring psychologist podcast episode with a psychiatrist today, and that will be coming out, I think, in April sometime. But he was saying that you can get involved with research with other people in your MDT as well, not just psychologists. So yeah, where can you diversify? So it might not be your more varied experience. It might be that you could do with some more academia, some more, you know, just some deepening of your narratives and your experiences and your ability to reflect and all of that. But I am sorry, Priya. I see your little sad face here. I see your little sad face, and I'm sad for you because it hurts and it matters. And you know, these are our lives that we are living. You know, I know we live them season to season. It's like being, you know, watching X Factor, isn't it? You know, for us it's entertainment, but actually these are people's lives. You know, this matters. Hasn't been X Factor for a few series, has there? A few seasons. I quite miss it. I used to like it on a Saturday night. But you know, it's your time and you're ready for the next step. And I think, Priya, that you know, 2022 applications for 2023 season is going to be very exciting for you indeed. And I am here for it. Okay, so I want to know. So I will see you back here for session number 3. Session number 4, Get in My World. The Aspiring Psychologist membership is opening again as well on April the 29th. If you'd like more information about that, there should be some in the, I don't know, in the spiel near this video somewhere, wherever you're watching that. If not, you can check out probably any of my socials, links. Yeah, on my bios, I think there's links that say membership, so you get involved there. So yeah, I would love to have you on board from April 29th if you're interested in that as well, Priya. Let's get you ready. Let's get you, you know, 4 offers next time, 4 interviews, maybe 4 offers. That'd be great. Kayla, It helped me to read the alternative handbook, as both universities had students saying very positive things about the interviews. Great, great tip. Yeah, so you can download the alternative handbook. I believe if you're a member of the BPS, I don't think you can get it otherwise. But if you know someone who is a member, even if someone who's qualified, they might download it for you if you're not a BPS member. So lovely piece of advice there, Kaya. Gillian is watching on YouTube. Click subscribe. I'm torn between being grateful for the next 2 weeks to prep and so excited I'd just like to do the interview now. Oh, I hear you. I hear you. I was like that this morning when I was waiting to do my podcast. I was really, really nervous because it was a psychiatrist that I used to work with when I was an aspiring psychologist. I was just thinking, I'm not good enough. I'm not good enough. I'm not good enough. I just wanted to get started now. It's 9 o'clock. Let's go now instead of 10. But yeah, in what way could you use the next 2 weeks to really nourish yourself? So don't just do prep, because all work and no play makes Gillian a stressed girl. So yeah, how can you do things that are really enjoyable? So I posted pictures on my LinkedIn a few days ago about when I was an aspiring psychologist and I was having fun. I was going to spell it then, fun. I was having fun. So I was doing things that nourished me from within and that just created these laughter lines. That's what they did. So please make sure that you are doing things that are not just about psychology. Move your body, you know, be it yoga, be it running, be it, you know, just moving every now and then, you know, do something that moves your body, just go for a walk, do what you need to do, but yeah, don't just prep over the next 2 weeks. That said, have you got any time off, even a few days? I certainly took, I think I took a week. I might have taken a few days. I can't quite remember, but I certainly took time to sit at my parents' dining table and really, I meant business. I was doing it. I was smashing it out the park, you know. I was not going to let that pass me by. So, but that said, I was doing Pilates and drinking with my friends too. So there was definite balance there. So yeah, make sure there's balance in your life too. Thank you, Lauren. Congratulations to you also. What's for us won't pass us. Absolutely. I love that, Gillian. Beautiful wording. Wise words from my nana. Lovely. Lizzie, definitely not quitting it. Yeah, so wherever it is, I am having it. I did my undergrad in Birmingham, so it just had a special place in my heart. Okay. Birmingham are pretty academic, okay? So if you don't have loads of research experience, that might be why they said no at that time. So Birmingham said no to me as well. But ironically, I did end up doing quite a lot of teaching at Birmingham. So I was still able to get some Birmingham experience when I did my doctorate at COV and Warwick. Because in the third year, so if COV is on your interview list, Birmingham and Warwick share a lot of their specialist teaching, and you can opt in to Birmingham. So not all of it is happening in both unis. So if you wanted to do stuff with, you know, systemic, social graces and things like that, then you'd opt into Birmingham for that teaching instead of doing one that's closer to home. And I did that a fair few times because I find it quite exciting to go to Birmingham. I'd be less excited now because I'd have to drive and I'd have to pay for the congestion charge, which would not appeal. But yeah, I loved it, really enjoyed it. I enjoyed being able to kind of city hop and, you know, get the best out of 2 different doctorates. So if that is a possibility for you, then there may still be time to be with Birmingham. But if not, if it doesn't work out for you this year, maybe Birmingham will be very interested in you next year. And yeah, it might be worth looking at any, you know, masters that you could do, or any strengthening of your research experience might be really useful. Georgia, what an unusual surname. Georgia Tanis, that's a lovely name. I got a reserve place for interview and I'm waiting to see if I get the call. Will it be a call these days, or I'm hiding below your comment, or will it be an email? I suspect it's an email, not quite as exciting. Lots of uncertainty, but feeling validated that I've been put on reserve. but still secretly hoping someone else declines their interview so I get the chance. Absolutely. And it does happen. I saw just the other day that people were talking about turning down interviews because they decided it is not for them. They decided, okay, well, I know that I could have done that, and now I'm choosing to say no. So it does happen. And, it does happen. And if people, depending, it's useful to look at where in the proceedings your interview is. So if it's really soon, it's one of the soonest ones, it is perhaps a little less likely. But if it's one in May, then people may well have accepted places by the time your interview comes around. And so they might say, I don't even want to go to that. I'm going to cancel that. Just have a look at when the interviews happen. And I believe that information is all on the Clearinghouse website. Is the Clearinghouse website up again? Because I know it was down recently, which is like bad timing. Right. I cried all the way home from work when I got my email last week. Oh, Priya, I hope you're doing something kind for yourself after that process. Absolutely, absolutely. Lauren, I cried when I heard about the interview. Me and my partner both jumped up and down. My smile was ear to ear. It's been tough. My partner's been rejected 4 out of 4, but he's my biggest cheerleader. Oh my gosh, you're doing it together. You're dating a psychologist. Wow. So he's coming with you, presumably, if and when you get on. And then, yeah, I guess he'll be hoping to get on the cohort below or a university not too far away. Otherwise, it's going to be a little bit of I miss you, I'll see you in 2 years. But yeah, it's really nice to have someone that gets it, isn't it? It absolutely is, because it feels even more sweeter when someone else understands exactly what that means to you. So maybe he can copy your form. We don't copy, do we? But be inspired by your form next time. Did you share forms when you were preparing, or did you just go for it and be like, no, this is me, that's you, we'll see how we go? Did you apply for the same forms, the same courses? Priya, I hope so. I felt super confident with my form this year as well. Okay. It's rubbish, isn't it? Did you watch any of my lives? Were you able to weave some of that stuff in there? Might be worth watching on replay to see what I was saying, what I was waffling on about in autumn. Lauren says, Priya, I'm so sorry. The process can be tough. Your time will come and it will be sweet when it does. It really will. Like the sweetest ice cream. That's just the most delicious thing. Priya, thanks, Gillian. I tried to push past it over the weekend. Oh, but it is still rubbish. You can still lean into how sad this is and be a bit jealous of everyone else as well. Helen, you're very kind. I don't know if that's to me or someone else, but I'm going to take that. Beautiful dress and lovely hair there, Helen. Priya, fingers crossed, 4th time lucky, but thank you, Lauren. I don't count my first time applying as I'd only been working as an AP for 2 months. Okay, so let's just say, let's pretend it didn't happen. That one's didn't count, okay? Because you wouldn't have scored enough points working as an AP for 2 months. So it's a nice practice of doing the form, but honestly, Priya, 4th time is going to be the charm. It absolutely is. I'm excited for you. And yeah, think about really, we're going to make sure that you've got like the most impressive form, and what I would say is when you come to do your form again, don't look at your old one. So I know Kaya asked me a similar question earlier and I said, no, we're not going there. But if you haven't got interviews this time, then I would say that form's not working. It was a broken form, it was dead. Why would we want to use that? We're not going to resuscitate that. We're going to chuck that away and we're going to start again. Okay, because you will have changed so much within a year. And if you haven't, that's a worry. Okay, because you should be advancing, you should be reflecting, you should almost be like, so what we know about teenage brains is, I'm not calling you a teenager, by the way, stick with me. They rewire, don't they? And when we're learning, when we're energized, so even the person I am now is very different than the person I was a year ago. I'm doing different things, and I think that we can, we're chucking that out, and we're starting again because it didn't work. Okay, it was like there was no spark there. It didn't work. It didn't catch. The tinder didn't light. So we're gonna start again. Yeah. We're not even going to look at it. Okay, we're going to look at your form after you've completed your next one, just to check you've not missed any golden nuggets. All right, so we're going to start again. Didn't work. Thanks very much. Meant a lot. Old form, 2021 form. You know, I meant it at the time. Don't mean it now. You know, we're starting again. Thanks. It's not you. It's me, but it was you. You know, it was the form, and we're starting again. All right. So, yeah, let's just, you know, start afresh. Take a breath. Blow it away. Blow that form away. And we'll just pick up in September. Okay, so just look at where you can build those experiences, where you can build those reflections, and how you can grow and shape yourself, how much joy you can cram in, more joy, need more joy between now and September to really energize you and enrich you. I have really good ideas when I'm running. You know, not everyone's a runner, and I've only come to running in the last 18 months, I would say. But yeah, do something that's not psychology, and great ideas will come to you. I feel confident. I feel sure. Gillian, absolutely. I took a nice long swim and a puppy walk after work tonight. Much needed, lovely. So important to have that balance. It really is. I can't remember what that was about, Georgia. Sorry. Gillian, I'm 40 this year. I am also 40. I'm 40 and a half, so I'm a little older than you. With older teenagers, and I'm not even seeing a commute from Ashford to Surrey as troublesome if I get on. You just listen to podcasts and be glad that you're not at home with the teenagers. I'm excited for a new adventure now. I have a bit more freedom from mum duties. Yeah, and I'm having a little bit more liberation from my 5-year-old and 8-year-old as well. It feels like I'm in an exciting chapter of my life. And when I was on training, there was a 40-year-old and a 43-year-old. So there's absolutely time. And we can always, you know, benefit from having people of different ages on the cohort. So yeah, wishing you lots of luck. That's so lovely, Lauren. We didn't share forms at his request. However, yeah, interesting, because when I was an aspiring psychologist, I would have happily shared forms with my desk buddy, but she elected not to, and she didn't get on, and I did. So maybe he's wishing that he had done that. But this year he's asked for my help. He's asked for some help from the pro. We've applied for all the same unis that are based centrally in the East Mid, so all are easily accessible. Okay, so good things are coming for him next year. But you know, there's absolutely wanting to do it on your own merit as well. I hear you. And you know, he didn't want to sound like you, he didn't want to sound like Lauren, but it's maybe that he just missed out some areas of reflection or wasn't thinking about it in quite the way that you were. I don't know. Or maybe it was just screened by someone different. We have to hope that's not the answer. It's great having an ally that completely gets it. Absolutely. I'm just going to pause and have just a little drink of water. Very chatty, aren't I? Okie dokie. Nadia. Oh, did I? Oh, yeah, I did. Yeah, did that one. I'm going to apply for the first time this year, and I'm very nervous, but thanks so much for this live. It's very useful. You are more than welcome. Look how glamorous you look in your robes. Congratulations to you on your graduation. And, you know, if you graduated very recently, then it might be that actually this is like a first time, you know, that this is like a toe in the water. Or if that is your master's graduation, which might is that a different hat masters. I never actually graduated from my masters. I think it could be a master's, in which case, you know, you might well have a shot. But yeah, if you've graduated very recently, like last year, then unless you were like super duper, like amazing first class degree and already like, you know, published peer reviewed journals and you know, or if you're on the Hull course. Is anyone on Hull? Is that a thing? Is anyone doing that? Let me know. FYI, my partner is now also listening to this with me. Perhaps you should have tuned in to me, oh partner, in the autumn. Maybe you should. Mellycat, Oh, I was going to sing that to you then, bit Friends, but I don't think we need that on a Monday night, do we? I am worried as the course I'm interviewing for you expects you to live 10 miles from your placement, but I have a young family. Is this flexible, do you know? Is this something I should ask at interview? It's not even possible to live 10 miles from your placement because you will have 6 placements. So that is not possible. Are you in London? Do they mean 10 miles from the course? I don't know. That's not possible. So when I moved to Coventry, I told them I was moving to Coventry, but they thought I was, for some reason, still going to be living in Northampton. So they gave me a base as Leamington Spa, which meant that for the duration of my training, I was always about 10 miles down on my mileage each way, which was really annoying because if they'd listened to me and given me Cov, they were trying to be kind, you know, because they thought, oh, from, you know, Leamington to Northampton's closer. But I told them I was moving to Cov. So yeah, I was down probably a good few £1,000s by the end of training because of that locality. So it might just be that they want you to optimize your chance of being able to claim expenses, you know, because it is a job. But are they really expecting you to live? They can't expect you to live 10 miles from your placement because that would mean that you'd have to move between 4 and 6 times in training. So yeah, when I was training, my closest placement to me was about 3 or 4 miles, and my furthest was like 30 miles. So that would not have been possible. So do they mean placement, or do they mean try and base yourself near the uni? Do let me know, Melly Cat Music. Um, uh, Nadia, I got my degree in 2020 and I'm an assistant psych now. I worked as a vocational lead in OT before, so I decided this is a good time to apply for the first time. So are you already an occupational therapist as well, Nadia? Is that what you're saying? Let me know. But yeah, still 2020. We are only 2022, so you are still a relatively recent graduate. So you might well be competing with people that graduated, you know, 4, 5, 6, 7 years ago. So by the time, I'm not saying that I am the queen here. I'm not. You know, I'm saying this is possible for you. But I graduated in 2002 and went off and had a lovely time for a bit, for about a year. So I didn't properly get on my psychology is my mission until probably the end of 2003. All right. So, and I didn't get my first kind of relevant job until 2004, and I got on in 2008. So 4 years of like relentless determination and relevant experience jobs, including an honorary AP post, a paid AP post, and another paid AP post. So it might just be that you need just a little bit more time, because not because you're not good enough, but because others might score higher on the points. So, you know, if very few people applied, or it was a quiet year for that course, you might well get through with the amount of points that you've got. But if you're competing with someone who's done 2 or 3 AP posts and graduated, you know, because they graduated that much longer ago. So I'd say definitely apply. Some courses like to see perseverance as well. But yeah, it might be that you are a second or third time. But yeah, please don't be despondent with that. It's just my honest opinion. My partner does not get it, so I took him for dinner just so I could celebrate my interviews, whatever works. Yeah, I'm not sure my husband would really get it as well. He'd have been like, get a different job. You know, if it's too hard, they don't want you. Sod 'em. But I want that one. I want that one. 10 miles from the placement base. I don't know what that means. I don't think they mean placement base. I think they mean your base. Okay, so depending on where you are training, you might have so my university at the time, I think it's changed. I think it's now maybe all one employer. But there was Coventry PCT, there was Warwick, there was Herefordshire, and there might even have been another one. So there was 4 different bases. And yeah, obviously made sense to try and live as close to your base, your employment base, as was possible. So my employment base was St Michael's Hospital, but I honestly only went like in Warwick. I went like once. So it was just in name only. There was no use for me being based there. I did do, so my first placement was really close to that. It was in Leamington Spa, but it was fine for me to travel where I was living from in Coventry. It was like, I don't know, like 10, 12 miles. So yeah, it does make sense to live as close as you can, but you can't possibly move all the time. So it might just be worth checking in with a current trainee for that course about what exactly they mean, because that seems a bit unrealistic. No, so I'm not an OT. I was supporting the OT and the OTA. Thanks so much for the insight. So yeah, I want good things for you, Nadia, but just worth bearing in mind that others might score more highly at this stage of their career because they've had more experience. They've had more years to gain that experience. Unless you did really relevant work during your graduate, undergraduate degree, and unless you did loads of publications, it might just be worth thinking, okay, there are others who are going to score more highly than me, and I accept that at the point that I'm applying. So I'm just going to have another little drink before reading this question from Lauren. So I know last year it really did affect me as I was only a 2019 grad. However, this year I did have a selection for 2 of 4, and luckily the interview for 1 of 4. So I wonder if my experience plays a role in this. Yes, Lauren. So that would be an excellent example for you, Nadia, because she's a year ahead. Okay, so it might be well actually, last year you applied and you weren't successful. So maybe you might get an interview. Depending on how amazing your form is, Nadia. So all is not lost. But yeah, we'll just see what happens, shall we? Dimple, hi, I'm too working as an assistant psych, but got the degree as an international student. So do you think I can get any scholarships or financial support if I get into the course? So do you mean that you are applying as an expat? Do you mean that you're applying as an international psychologist, so that you are not attracting salaried posts, that you are self-funding? Because I think those places are done differently, aren't they? You might, I think you still apply via the clearinghouse, don't you? But you are not applying. So there's certain courses, I think there's 3 or 4 of them, that will allow you to self-fund. So is that what you mean? Let me know. Kaya, Plymouth is the same with bases. You choose Cornwall, Devon, Plymouth, and then you need to live around that base. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, it's, when we've got really rural courses that have got a wide geographical area, then they've got a diverse group that they serve. And so, yeah, you're going to need to choose one. And, I don't know how it's done. Maybe if there's 15 people on the course and the first 10 people all choose Cornwall and Devon, then you're going to end up with Plymouth. So take that into account when you're choosing your courses to apply to, but also when you're choosing which course to go for if you get offered more than one. So Gillian says, Nadia, this is my second time applying and my first interview. I graduated in 2018, so yeah, it's about this. It's about where I expect you to be, really, 2018 to 2022. Keep everything crossed for you. This is a second career for me after law. Oh, she's a very brainy one. She's a very brainy one. A few years AP, PWP training, and now as CAP. I feel so differently than I did last year in the first app. Yes, I'm excited for you, Gillian, because honestly, I didn't think of these words then, but I say them now. I just felt that it was my time and I was ready for the next step. So if you can, hand on heart, guides honor. I was a guide and a brownie. If you can, hand on heart, say that about yourself, then I think you go into interviews with a sense of calm, with a sense of and what is it, that phrase that I said the other day? Wear a smile on your face, and I don't know, something like you. It's a Roald Dahl quote. I can't remember what it was. And you will always look lovely. I don't know, whatever it is. But if you feel like actually I am comfortably within my stride now as an aspiring trainee clinical psychologist, then I think you carry that with you and you're able to handle, ready, Gillian? You handle whatever's thrown at you. Okay. So I do think that, you get onto training when you're ready, and because they want people that are going to be able to handle what's coming, and just being able to flexibly think about all of that stuff honestly, you're going to be such an asset on your cohort. Lucky them. So yeah, your law career before you. And going forwards to then think about whether you set up a private practice, you're going to be like light years ahead with all the legal stuff. So Lauren, my interview is with Leicester, but I'm lucky in the sense the only criteria is we live within the East Mids. Every course is different, that's for sure. Yeah, although one of my good friends who might well be watching on Facebook Live, she lived in Northampton for I think at least a year, and then it did get a bit much and she moved to Leicester. So Mellycat, I'm on mat leave and worked remotely for most of my pregnancy as it was high risk. This has made me nervous about the clinical questions. I have a lot of clinical experience but feel rusty. So were you still doing clinical work but via Zoom? Because you don't need to be in a room with someone to do clinical stuff. So I would spend some time, congratulations on your baby too. I would spend some time with your supervisor doing mock interviews and really doing some kind of vignette stuff about clinical stuff and formulation. And yeah, see if you can book in some additional time. So it might be that you can use your normal supervision time for this, but it can be useful to get extra diary dates in the diary. Yeah, so that's my little piece of advice there. Emily. Oh, Emily Golodley. Is that how I say your name? Look at your hair. Very nice hair goals there. I'm currently in AP and my experience is research. Emily, you are watching on YouTube, which means that you are obligated to click subscribe. My experience is research heavy. Well, that's not a bad position to be in. I've not got direct therapy, e.g. CBT experience with service users. I'm apprehensive about this, my interview. Okay, so you can't make it up, can you? You can, but they must know that. So they're excited by your AP stuff. Yeah. When I was on training, I hadn't really done much therapy, and what I had done was rubbish as an assistant psychologist. Honestly, if the person that I did therapy for ever watches my stuff, I'm sorry. I am sorry. Um, yeah, it is what it is. And it might be so they've offered you an interview, so they must think that you are interviewable. You know, you can't make it up. You know, when we look at our areas of academic brilliance, clinical brilliance, and all round, being a great person with good hair, check. Um, we can't be everything to everybody, or we're always going to have one area that feels slightly weaker. All right, so can't make it up, can we? Especially not between now and when your interview is. It's unlikely that you're going to be able to get a different job between now and when your interview is. And it might just be that, you treat this as a right. Let's see how this goes. But it may be that you need to build some more clinical experience across the next year, because of course you are going to be then in a room with lots of clients calling you their therapist, and it would be nice if you were at least used to that a little bit. So I had done some neuropsych, I'd done assessments with people, I had done some very dodgy therapy, I'd done some anger management stuff with groups of young people. So I was and I'd done cognitive stimulation therapy groups as well. So I'd done little bits here and there. Could you do a bit of groupy stuff? Is that possible? Could you get that off the ground? Could you digest some research quickly and then say, how about we do this quickly? How about we, run this pilot and I'm going to lead it. Everyone get behind me. It's going to be brilliant. You're going to love it. Is there opportunities within your current role, Emily Gallagher with the lovely hair? Right. Congratulations, Mellycat, on both the little one and the interview. Exactly. Gillian, I'm itching to start learning what I'm aware I don't know currently. It's such an uncomfortable place to sit for too long. Sometimes we need to tolerate that distress, Gillian, of knowing what we don't know and not knowing what we do know and all of that jazz. Sometimes we just need to But yeah, you're used to knowing stuff, aren't you? Emily, who actually I know, an actual person that I know. Thank you so much for doing this Q&A. I'm finding it so helpful. I'd actually forgotten you went to Cobham Warwick. Yes, I did. Yes, I did. I think you told me you've got interviews this year. Is that right, Emily? I think you might have told me that you did. You have. I get so mixed up. But yeah, Emily, I actually know you. Melly. Thank you, Lauren. I'm not currently having supervision as I'm on mat leave. Oh, yeah. But you are still an employee, and I would absolutely ask for your supervisor to make time for you. Do a keeping in touch hour and have a mock interview. So that's my advice. Have a mock interview with a variety of ClinPsychs at your job. Definitely. Emily, so Gillian, Emily, we all have our strengths and weaknesses. You've got this, yeah, for sure. Emily, thank you. I do initial assessments and risk assessments. That's clinical. Stop being silly. That is clinical experience. Okay, so do you mean therapy experience? But that is clinical. Okay, well done, you. Doesn't matter that you haven't got therapy. You can say that. You know, I need training to give me to give me some more experience of doing therapy. And I'd love to run some groups because I'm really excited about groups and the power of, you know, one to many and maximizing the NHS efficiency and, you know, getting people seen quicker, all of that. But you are good to go, Emily. Go out there and claim your place. Lauren, those initial assessments are 100% clinical experience. Absolutely. So yeah, don't worry about that. Emily, I think my ears might have been burning, but yes, I have an interview for Cobham Warwick this year. Yes, they were. I was talking about you. So yeah, good. Excited for you, Emily. Yeah, I think you might have moved. You were somewhere else, weren't you? But I think you moved back to the Midlands, or you were thinking about it. Right, let's just do a bit of guided imagery and, you know, imagination and all of that stuff before we finish. And before we finish, if I can just let you know that currently, if you've already bought a copy of the ClinPsy Collective book, that if you want to leave a review on Amazon, then you can win a one-to-one with me. Currently, it's a verified purchase review. Send me the review or you tag me on social so that I see it. Currently, only 3 people have entered. So you're currently perhaps even better odds to win a one-to-one with me than you are, you know, some of the places that you've got for interviews. You know, currently you could be, you know, 4 out of 4 applicants if you enter. So if you've already bought a copy of the ClinPsy Collective, you know, you can just pop onto Amazon and fill in your verified purchase review on Amazon. If you haven't bought one already, it's a very useful book. Be good if I had a copy with me, but I don't, but you can see one down here on the screen. It's a really useful book for thinking about applying for training in future, but also for reflecting and getting your head around different aspects of clinical psychology. So I definitely recommend that. But right, what we're going to do before we finish, and do pop any more comments in, but this is your, you know, 5-ish minute warning that we're going to be stopping because I'm going to go and watch some Married at First Sight. That's what I'm going to do because I've been busy all day. Okay, so this is useful for you whether you are getting on to training this year or whether it's going to be next year. But I want you to just take a breath, drop those shoulders, take a breath in through your nose. I want you to imagine that you've got an interview. Maybe you have 2, maybe you have 3, maybe you have 4. And I'd like you to imagine, you know, that when you go to look for your shoes that day, you go to leave the house, you find them first time. Maybe you line them up because you're super keen. Maybe they're new shoes. You know, maybe you're interviewing from home, so you've got your new shoes, you've got your $1 million experience of walking on the carpet with your shoes on, okay? Your outfit's looking good, your hair, whether it's long, whether it's short, you know, you're having a great hair day. You know, you haven't got too massive spots, you know, you're looking good, you are hot to trot, you are feeling good. You've not dropped ketchup on yourself, you know, it's a good day. It's a good day. Okay, take a breath. If you've got to drive somewhere, you know, all the traffic lights are with you. You're green. You go, girl. You go, boy. You go, sister, mister. You know, he, she, they. You go. You know, they're giving you their blessing, and you are on fire. All right. You find a car parking space, or you know, happily you've managed to park outside your house if you're interviewing from home. Things are going well. You feel ready. Okay. You get to the waiting room, or you're in the Zoom waiting room, and you just think, right, it's my time and I'm ready for the next step. I know that it's okay if I feel a bit nervous, because I know that this means a lot. And anybody in my position would also be experiencing the same. They'd also be thinking, this is the real deal and this matters. Okay. Just taking those breaths, and then we realize that we're being called for interview, or you know, we're being told, right, now's your research interview, or now's your clinical relevance interview. And I just want you to imagine it going well. Okay, I want you to imagine that it feels within your stride as you take some breaths. I want you to just observe and let it unfold as you do well. You know, as you bat those questions back and you think, I'm pleased with that. I'm pleased with how I answered that. I feel really proud of how I did there. I feel like I did my best, because that's what we're asking for. We're not asking for you to be the best they've seen all day. We're asking for you to be your optimal best, okay? For you to feel like you are thriving in that interview, all right? So it's comfortably within your stride. So you watch that unfold. You know, this is not going to be an apprentice situation where all those interviews are awful. You know, the one I watched recently, none of them went well. But usually in a normal episode of The Apprentice, sometimes you're like, wow, that was a good interview. They did well there. And those are the ones we're going for. We're not having the horror stories. We're not having the one where they go, no, this is not for you. Not even continuing, you know, out you go. We're not having that. That's not for you. We're having the ones where it all goes well, okay? You notice yourself leaving that interview and feeling that was all right. And the next one comes along. You know, maybe you've stopped for lunch and you've had all your best stuff for lunch, the stuff that you really enjoy, stuff that's going to feel good in your tummy. You know, you're not rammed full of caffeine. We're not doing that to yourself. We are comfortably and appropriately stimulated to do our best. We are well hydrated. We don't need a wee, all those good things, okay? And we just let that day unfold, okay? As you take some breaths. And you dare to dream, you dare to imagine how you feel after that interview when it's gone well, it's gone well enough, where you feel like actually, you know. So I got in the car after my COV interview and I, hand on heart, said to myself, Marianne, if you don't get offered a place outright from there, then I feel like you might never get offered a place anywhere, because that could not have gone better. You know, I felt like that was my best. You know, I felt like I had, and I was offered one of the 15 outright places. You know, I just felt like it was my time. So for Hearts, I was, I think, first reserve. So yeah, and then I got offered there as well. So dare yourself to dream that you will get outright places, that you will get reserve places, and that they will come to fruition. You know, we can sometimes imagine ourselves being where we want to be. So I'm not that woo, I'm not into crystals, but you know, dare yourself to have these dreams, to imagine your dreams coming true, because you've worked really hard. If you've got interviews this year, maybe you'll have interviews next year, maybe you'll have interviews the year after. But you can dare to imagine that you get what you ask for, and that you get what you strive for, and that you get what you've worked really, really hard for. How was my little imagination exercise? How did you find it? I hope that you liked it. So yeah, it's been a pleasure to support you through this compassionate Q&A. If you're watching on replay, please do still feel free to drop any comments in. Do put a hashtag replay in with your question so that I know that I haven't missed it in the live. Righty ho. I haven't seen much on LinkedIn today. And yes, mostly been YouTube. So I will be expecting my subscriber count to have gone up significantly by the time I next check. You know, just between me and you, that would be a delight. Right. So our next Q&A might be too late for some of you. It is, oh no, it's like 2 weeks today because of Easter, because I'm away. I'm not away, but I'm busy with the kids, so I'm not doing it over the Easter. So we've got 7:30 p.m. on Monday, the 4th of April for session number 3. So that's when I will be here. Will you be here? Has anyone got interviews before that? Yeah. The Aspiring Psychologist membership is opening back up again from the 29th of April. So if you want to get on the wait list for that, then go to my links in my bios on all of the socials. There's links for how you can get involved with that. Oh, yeah, Lauren says she's also watching Married at First Sight. Brilliant. I'm not up to speed. I'm not like, I think I'm up to the second commitment ceremony. No, the new marriages. I'm watching those. Thank you very much, Marianne. Very helpful and supportive to know that others are in the same position for sure. Love Married at First Sight. Definitely my next port of call. Yeah, lovely. Thank you for joining me. Thank you very much, Marianne. You're more than welcome. Emily, thank you very much for this. Thank you for this. You're more than welcome. Next time I tune in, I will have the results of my interview, either celebrating or commiserating. Please do, Lauren. Please come along, won't you? Tag me on socials as well. Connect on socials. Thank you, Marianne. Really helpful and great to be part of these chats. Take care. Yeah, I'll see you very soon. Gillian, oh, that's right before my interview. I'll be there. Lovely. So thank you for being part of my world. Honestly, it's a real privilege for me to be part of this really important phase of your life. Lucky me. And I mean that, you know, I love what I do and I love supporting aspiring psychologists. And Emily will tell you herself, because Emily was working with us as an honoree. I've always just really loved working with aspiring psychologists because I guess I recognize what I would have really liked. So I liked everyone who was around me, but someone that really takes a special interest in you, that feels great, doesn't it? And this is what you can do for your clients too. You know, you can be on their team. So it'll be right before yours too. Lovely. So yeah, I mean it. I am wishing you all the best of luck. And yeah, thank you for coming along tonight. And I will look forward to seeing you very soon. Okie dokie. Good luck if you've got an interview before I see you next. But yeah, do be kind to yourselves. Make sure that you've got balance in your life. And yeah, go out there and get what is for you. All right, lovely to see you. And I'm gonna end this one, and I'll just catch up very briefly. You're more than welcome. Shisha, Mia, lovely name. And I will see you all very soon. I'm going to end you guys and then quickly end Instagram in case there's any questions on there. But there we go. Yeah, good luck, Lauren. Thank you guys. Take care. Night night.